Hello and welcome to part 3 of Blendshape characters. My name is ET and today we will be looking at clothing and hair. So we're going to be going kind of in depth, so this might be quite a bit of a long one. I'm not quite sure yet, and I'm not really scripted on this, so we're just going to go by the seat of our pants and see what happens. Alright, so here we go. On the last time what we did was we have this character and he's in an idle position and he's basically changing his facial expression to happy, angry, and neutral, and then he just kind of loops. What I want to do is add some clothes to him and some hair to him. Maybe some eyebrows. So all that stuff's included in DAZ, and so what we're going to try to do is put the clothes on him, retarget all those bones if the clothes have additional bones, because sometimes clothes will have, the figure's bones, but then they might have some like cloth hanging out or something. So what we're going to be doing is just putting, basically what we'll be doing is making a giant skeleton of all bones. Not a giant skeleton, a combined skeleton. Basically, it'll be just one skeleton that will contain all bones for every single piece of clothes. But to do that, we'll probably have to do some Unity scripting, so we'll be doing a little bit of that. But yeah, let's get into it. So okay, let's say that we want to add hair to this guy. So we can go over to DAZ 3D, and this is kind of the one we used from part 1. I'm going to go ahead and open, if I have it, hopefully it's on my desktop. Is it base mail? Basically looking for the one with a bunch of Camelot morphs. Yeah, here we go. So that's the one with a bunch of Camelot morphs. So we'll be using this one. Okay, great. So really the only ones we'll be worried about for clothing is the first like 4 or 5, because this affects the body, this affects the body, age 40 affects the body, age 60 affects the body, body fat, body muscle, body skinny will affect the body. The face stuff won't really matter. So what I might even do for this example is delete all the face ones. And there's probably a better way to do it on the property hierarchy, so let's just look at the property hierarchy. So if you say show in property hierarchy, it's over here. I think I can just take all the face ones and delete them. Oops, nope, I delete the whole thing. My bad. Alright, look for Camelot and parameters. These guys. Remove selected. Boom. So now we only have the ones we care about. Great. So, good. And I did that because it will save on size, because what it does for each one of these sliders is it saves multiple copies of the mesh. So you want to have as few morphs as you can, based on utility or how you'll use it. So okay, so let's go ahead and give this guy some hair. So I'm going to go over to I think smart content. I think it's under hair. Yeah, that makes sense. And let's just give this guy some smart hair, slick back hair, bedhead. Alright, spiky hair, cool. So we have some spiky hair, we have the original model. What I might look at in a different video is deleting the model from it, but for now we'll need the model because it has all the morphs, and you need the morphs so that the hair stays in the right spot as he's moving around. Okay, so we got the hair. I'm going to export this, and we're just going to say hair. Okay, and so you see it's going to export both figures, and I have some experience doing this, and when I say no to exporting like the not selected stuff, it still exports the selected mesh, so I don't really know why that is. But anyway, yep, still has the Camelot stuff, so cool. I'm going to go ahead and hit accept, and it will export both the body and the hair. Oh, and I forgot to do a step, so we're just going to let that export and come right back, because there's an important thing that you should always consider is how many polygons are on there. So if I go to bed hair and I go to that place I was earlier, which was what was it, scene info, you can see that this has 24,000 vertices, whereas the base mesh only has 6,000. So I definitely want to keep it low because it's a real-time game, so we're trying to make everything as low poly as we can, but while still making it look good. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. It's kind of, if you do all parameters, it's close to the top resolution level. You can hit base, and there we go. Now it's 6,000 vertices, about 10,000 triangles, which is okay. Still kind of heavy, but it's alright. Alright, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and export this guy. And that all looks good. So export again. Shouldn't take too long. And there we go. So we go here. It's going to import the textures and everything, and it'd be really nice if we can remove the actual base model from this. But I haven't done that yet or figured out how to yet. But if you look at the textures, it copies over the textures again, yet has this additional hair texture. So okay, what we're going to do is just drag this to the scene as well. And I guess we'll flip them. And so really we only want the hair. So now we see there's two shapes. I'm going to get rid of one of the shapes. And so now we have the male model, which is this guy, and then the hair, which is up here. So here's the issue. Sure, this has the sliders as well, but we need to move them together synchronously. So I think the best way to do this is make a hierarchy. So basically have a root object and then have all your other objects inside of there, so that you can have a script that you can kind of slide things around. So let's just say I made this old hair. It shrinks the hair, but the guy did not change at all. But so it fits okay, but it could fit better. But if I change both of them at the same time, now the guy kind of fits into his hair. So that's why you kind of want them to be together. Hair is less apparent than clothing. So clothing, the guy will start sticking out of the clothing and everything. So yeah, that's why you want to make sure the morphs are the same. So okay, we have both models, and what we want to do is make a parent model here. So we'll just call this parent model models. So this is kind of everything that will consist of the actual character. And theoretically, you might have like a character or player object, and we'll just say player for now. And so you'd have your player object with a bunch of scripts and, you know, game logic, but then you'll just have a models sub-object with, you know, all the different things that make up his models. And I think that's a good structure. I'm sure there's other better structures out there as well, or at least different structures. And yeah. So okay, here's where we're going to have a couple scripts. I have some pre-written ones that I've done previously, and I think I'm just going to drag those over and we'll discuss those scripts. So let me go ahead and find them. So I'm going to go over here. It's going to be off the screen for a sec. So let's see. Going to my previous project. Here it is. Going to its scripts folder. And let's take a look at this one. So I'm going to drag that here. And there's also something else I made for the male models. So if I go to the models, characters, male, bring that over as well. So this is called blend sliders, which I'll go over in just a bit. Okay, so character sliders. The goal of this script is, which I'm going to put on the models folder right now, is to have a bunch of sliders you can mess with that affect both clothes, hair, and the actual body. Oh, and I just remembered something else. Another thing that I found online and modified a bit to my liking is called the equipmentizer. And that is in the scripts. I can't cite where I got it from, but just because I don't remember. But it's a very good script as well. So it's kind of a two-step thing. The equipmentizer you only have to do once when you're creating it. And the character sliders, you can do, you know, live in the actual editor. Okay, so I see I have errors. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into some Unity scripting. Okay, so we are going to look at the equipmentizer script. And so what we'll have is a target, and the target is basically what is the base character, like what's going to be wearing everything is kind of the idea that I had here. and then basically onValidate, which is a function that runs every time it has to validate something on the side on the inspector. So basically, if it notices that there's no target, it'll find the first component of skin mesh render within the itself or its children. And then we have this function called Retarget Bones, which is tied to, if I go to player models, I'm going to do Equipmentizer. Oh, I guess I got to fix some of the errors that I have in the scripts first. Let me see if I can build this and see what the errors are. I gotta fix the errors before showing you guys anyway. Oh yeah, I have some. I have an extension function called find that finds everything in the children or its children's. Basically, it does a deep search or recursive search until it finds something or it doesn't find something. So I'm going to bring that script over as well. I totally forgot about that one. It's a good, helpful script. Yep, so just give me a second here. So it's under scripts, extensions, transform extensions. And what I'm going to do is, can I just drag this here? Cool. So transform extensions really is just this one function. So it's a static class with a static function, and this is how you write like an extension function, which is kind of like C# sugar. So basically, it makes a deep search. So not going too much into it, but basically what this is going to be doing is it's going to go through all the other meshed skin renderers or things with bones, and it will be looking for any kind of unique bones to that structure. So if it notices that it has like a sixth finger, go ahead and grab the bones for that sixth finger and add it to the original target skeleton. And that's all this first part is doing. So map bones to target. Oh no, combine skeletons is doing that. So that's what this is doing. Map bones to target is, okay, so now that you have a skeleton with all the bones, start finding the original bones of like the clothing or the hair and start mapping it to the big, combined skeleton. And then finally, some helper functions, and then this little piece of code will actually just create a button that we can click. So it's a custom inspector with a button that will just call this function. And so if we go over here, did I fix all the errors? I'm going to just hit rebuild and maybe everything will be happy. Yep, build succeeded. And so it's saying I'm having multiple objects. I'm really not. So character sliders and Equipmentizer. So okay, the base model is going to be the male, right? Is it this guy? No, I got to go a little further in. Or we can use the validate by just resetting this, I believe, or by deleting this. Never mind. All right, we're going to choose, oh gosh, which one is the right one? I don't know. So we're going to click on male, Genesis 3 shape. We're going to make that the target. There we go. So that is kind of the main guy, the base model, and then everything else is going to be like the utility model. So like we can add a whole bunch of other stuff and it'll just easily retarget there. Okay, cool. So that is the Equipmentizer script I found online and modified a bit. And character sliders. Okay, let's go into this. So you notice I also dragged in something called Sliders.csv. And so I'm going to open this up in Excel, hopefully. That might be better. Maybe a little more visual. But it will contain those values. But it's just loading. All right, so just give it a bit. Excel is loading. Here we go. Oh, I was on the wrong screen. Okay. So you can see I have 4 columns here, comma-separated values. And this is what we got. We got age, body shape, body muscle, happy, angry, sad, all the emotions. And so we have the slider value. So the slider is going to be what you see in the inspector, and it's going to go from 0 to 100. And then we have the actual morphs that we're modifying. So between slider values 10 to 40, the actual blend value of age 40 is going to be 10 to 100. And then at slider value 60, it's going to go back down to 0. And then we also have basically more values on that same slider. So basically, this is a way to combine different morphs into the one slider. So to see this in action, hopefully I can just go here, and because it's in the assets folder, maybe I can just say assets blend sliders like that. Populate key from here. Oh, I have it open. It doesn't like it when I have it open, and it doesn't like it. You'll see there's just a sharing violation at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and populate keyframes, and there we go. Get all sorts of sliders. And if I look at the actual script itself, just because if you're just curious, I'll pop it up. Maybe I just click it here. So yeah, I have like a path of where the CSV file is, a list of slider blend values, which is just an object that contains all 4 of those variables that I just looked at on the sheet. An enumerable of sliders basically give me all the unique names of that first value of the slider name, so just give me a unique, distinct array of that. Then I just have a 100 value array, so I just assumed I wasn't going to have more than 100 sliders, so I just made a 100 array. And then previous value, 100, just so you can check if the values hasn't changed. You don't have to do all these recalculations and everything. So okay, here we go. Calculate set blend values. So all this does is, you saw how I had like 0 and 40. If you chose like 20, it will calculate what the slider value is at 20 and what the blend value is at 20 for which animations. And so that's what all this does. Like this entire nonsense script does just that. It basically calculates where the blend should be and just set the blends accordingly. And then here is the script for actually making the sliders. Okay, we're back. Sorry for that. So I'm going to repopulate all the sliders, and I didn't hit Retarget Bones yet. So let's look at what's happening right quick. So here we go. We have a whole bunch of bones under hair, and we have a whole bunch of bones under male. And I won't go through all of them, but they're all there, right? So what the equipmentizer does is, if I click on Retarget Bones, you'll see one of them goes inactive, and one of them stays active. So the target always stays active. So if they're inactive, they've been retargeted. And what I can do now is go ahead and safely delete that. Break the prefab instance, no problem. And I'll just delete this while I'm here anyway. Okay, so hair is set. And now you have this combined bone of hip with, if there was any additional hair bones, it would be in there. Okay, great. So we are set here. And now if I change the age here, you can see the hair morphs with the character. And then we can also change body shape, but I don't think that changes the hair. Go ahead and set that to 50. There's also body muscle, but that won't change the hair either. And then you have like happy and sad and all that. So okay, cool. So yeah, that's how you do it. And the same will go for clothes. And I guess I can do one example of clothes right quick just to kind of reiterate and just show you everything really quickly. So okay, we're going to go to DAS. We're going to go ahead and delete the hair. Go over, get some clothes. Wardrobe for this character. Let's do products. Yeah, peasant sounds good. I want to give it some textures. This one didn't come pre-textured, so materials. Let's get the belt texture. Let's get the boot texture. Let's get the shirt texture. Okay, so now it's all textured, and I want to bring that in. But before I do, like I always do, let's make sure we're getting the base models here. So, we go to General, Mass Resolution. Don't want the high resolution one. We want all the base resolution ones. Okay. Cool. So yeah, this has multiple things, so this might be a good one. Alright, so great. Now I'm going to export this guy to, we'll call it peasant clothes. Peasant clothes. The morph should have the same value, match values, and if you look through the tune generation, you should be grabbing those morphs. I'm going to go ahead and hit accept, and it's going to export all of those clothing items over to the FBX file, and we'll just have to give it a second. So maybe I'll use the magic of video to speed this up. Okay, it's done, and so we're going to go over to Unity and maybe also wait for this to load. Maybe the magic of video will help here. Great, so that imported into Unity just fine. And here we go. We have peasant clothes here in the preview. There it is. And oh, I totally forgot to do something. We lucked out because we're using DAS for everything, but you should always make sure you're using the same animation type for each thing. So for peasant clothes, you should make it, humanoid. And the same thing for the hair, you should have done that. But because they're both DAS 3D and the bones were named the same thing, it's still able to retarget it just fine. So we didn't actually have to do it. We could actually leave it on generic and it would be fine. But better practice to make sure everything's the same animation type. And maybe you want everything to be generic, and that's fine too. So, okay, we have peasant clothes. I'm just going to drag this in. And it's in a weird spot. I will find out why. It's in a real weird spot. Because you're in a real weird spot? Yes. Strange. Okay, so anyway, I don't know what happened there, but basically not everything was at the origin. So I am doing that as we speak. And I will do the same with this guy, 180 degrees. Really, this 180 degrees should have been on the models, or even better, the player. That's where this 180 degrees should have been, so my bad. Okay, so we're going to delete this guy. That was the base shape. And also, you can see that this guy has hips. So what we want to do is go to the models and retarget all those bones to the base model. And there you see the hips have inactivated. And I'll just go ahead and delete it. It's safe to delete at this point. And now we have the belt, the boots, and everything. And you can see each of these things have the properties of age 40, age 60, skinny and fat, and all of that. Okay, so moment of truth. We will see if our sliders still work with the clothes on him. So we're going to make him old. And there we go. You can see that the clothes is morphing with the guy. So successful. There is some anomalies here, so you're going to have to be careful. You can see that like some of the pants are sticking out. But I think that would have just been true in DAS as well. So it's not really my fault. It's the fault of the sliders, really. And yeah, hopefully he can become fat and skinny, which is great. And he can become muscular or not muscular under those clothes. And yeah, that's working. And then hopefully all the expressions still work, so him being happy and not happy. So okay, that is blend shapes and how you get them into Unity. So that is it for this. Probably am going to have a part 4 because there is sometimes that you're going to have trouble getting clothes into here because of Unity's limit of 64K, which is really 65,536 triangles. So what we'll need to do is, if you have clothes that are higher than that, we're going to have to either decimate, which is not a good option for animation, or remesh or retopologize while reducing the polygons is what is a good option. So we'll do that in the next part. But for now, if you have clothes that aren't, that high resolution, I think you're set. You know how to do your morphs, and you know how to do the clothes, and you should be good to go. All right, see you guys next time. Bye.